Hi everyone, this is Anand from Team Amoeboids, and in today's video, we are going to talk about a unique use case that ARN solves for you. As many of you might know, ARN has quite robust integration with Confluence, right? In the sense that it can take any kind of data from Jira, lay it out in a way that's desirable for your situation, and publish it onto Confluence. It not only allows you to create a new page, but also update the existing ones, right? And as we have talked about this in the past in many of our videos, automated release notes is not really limited to the release notes part. Given the flexibility of JQL, you can do n number of things via ARN. Let's begin, and I'll show you how you can create or publish a Confluence page using ARN, but at the same time, send an email to a targeted audience that includes the link to this Confluence page. Let's begin. So I've navigated to the templates tab inside of ARN. And in fact, I've already created one template specific to this situation called Confluence URL handover. Okay, now you might notice this is an email type of template. I'll open it up to show you the content that I have added. Once the page loads, you'll actually realize almost the entire body of this email template is static, but the only variable that we are utilizing here is Confluence URL, right? So this is a unique URL that applies to the Confluence integration only. If you were to utilize it somewhere else, it may not work. Let me tell you how that works, right? So this is the email template that we have already created. Now let me show you the rule. Again, the rule is already in place. I've named it Confluence URL handover. But what I've done is I've added two actions inside of this rule. One is obviously the Confluence action and the subsequent email action. So what happens here is, irrespective of whether you are creating a Confluence page or updating an existing Confluence page via ARN, there is going to be a Confluence page involved, right? So as long as that Confluence action is there before your email action, you can actually include the Confluence URL in the email template. So what happens is, irrespective of what Confluence template you are using or which space you are publishing into, once this action runs, the Confluence action, it generates the Confluence URL. And if the Confluence URL is included in one of the email templates that are part of any of the subsequent actions, then the URL gets stamped into that email notification. Now, in this case, what I've done is, again, like I mentioned, it doesn't matter what template you are using for Confluence. The content could be anything. It could be release notes. It could be some kind of report that you are creating, whatever. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that your email template should have the Confluence URL variable included. Now we have done just that. The only configuration I have here is I've chosen the email template. Then I'm sending this email to myself, right? Now let's run this rule. Let's run it for 15th of December. Now let's navigate to the logs tab and wait while the execution logs appear. One important thing to know here is that if you run that specific action, that specific email action, without being attached to a Confluence action, the Confluence URL variable will fail. It will not spit out the expected value. So the rule was executed. This is the time, right? Now let's go in and look at the email. Now, rather than opening up my inbox, I'm just looking at the email from the logs. Here you'll notice the entire static text is as it is captured, but additionally, the page which was created in the previous action, its URL is included in this email, right? So the obvious situations where you will find this use case handy is, for example, let's say you have a pre-release meeting, maybe every week or so, every couple of weeks. So you set up a rule that is supposed to be executed every couple of weeks, that publishes the pre-release notes document in Confluence, and at the same time sends out the link to that Confluence page to a group of users who are supposed to get together and talk about it, right? I hope this was helpful. Give this use case a try and let us know if you have any other questions. Thank you.